AEW Dynamite starts off with Hangman on a page. He was getting interviewed by Tony Schiavone, but then ends up getting attacked by Cole Gunn, who's attacked him from behind. But then soon after, Hangman on a page ends up getting the upper hand. I think he was about to choke him out with his belt, but then Jay White and Juice Robinson ends up coming out. They come out and ends up making a save. After they make the save, Jay White gets on the microphone, cuts a few words, and that's it. Overall, decent way to start off Dynamite. Not going to add too much to this. There's not much more to tell, but I am interested in this feud. Can't wait to see where this goes. Probably have a match at Full Gear. I'm assuming this is the match at Full Gear, but I could be wrong. But overall, this was a nice way to start off Dynamite. Next, we end up getting Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis. Kyle Fletcher ends up giving out his reasons for why he betrayed Will Ospreay. Now, I will say this. The beginning of his promo was throwing me off because a lot of the things he was saying, I was just confused by because I just felt like it was just bad reasoning and logic. Because at first, he was talking about how the reason he betrayed him was because when he first got to AEW and all, that he was told he was going to be this big star. Then Will Ospreay came in, and then people said that instead of being Kyle Fletcher, he was going to be the next Will Ospreay, and that he got compared to Will Ospreay in the sense of they look alike, sound alike. And I was just like, I don't know where he's hearing that. I don't know who wrote that. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe you guys think it makes sense. But to me, that part just didn't make sense. But later in the promo, when he starts saying that he's tired of being in his shadow and that he always was better than Will Ospreay, things like that made sense of him being in his shadow and that he's better. I'm cool with that. But when he was saying the stuff about him being the biggest star and him being compared to Will Ospreay in the sense of that they're very similar, I don't know where that I just felt like was just bad. I don't understand that logic. Then towards the end of the promo, he ends up saying that he is nothing like Will Ospreay, and he kept repeating it. And then Don Callis pulls out some clippers, and he ends up cutting off his hair in the middle of the ring and says that he's nothing like Will Ospreay. I will say this. I am intrigued. We all know how this is going to end, but I am intrigued because I do like Kyle Fletcher. I do think the most interesting version of Kyle Fletcher is as a heel. But now I am interested to see how they will play this out because he did call out Will Ospreay 2 for next week, but Will Ospreay is going to be technically fighting through an injury. So I wonder how they're going to play that match because it's like Will Ospreay doesn't lose, and with an injury, I can't really buy into Kyle Fletcher beating Will Ospreay, so I don't know how they're going to play that into making Kyle Fletcher a threat. But overall, it was a solid promo. I just felt like the beginning of his promo just didn't make logical sense, but towards the second half of it, it made sense. Now we end up getting Chris Jericho versus Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Just gonna get to the end if I'm being honest. Towards the end of the match, Mark Briscoe was about to retain his championship by because it was a ladder match, about to retain his championship, but then Big Bill comes out of nowhere and ends up attacking Mark Briscoe. He throws him through some tables. Then he ends up picking up Chris Jericho, climbing him up the ladder, and Chris Jericho ends up getting the title. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say I hate this decision, but I also don't like this decision because we just dealt with this with the FTW Championship, and now we're doing this with the Ring of Honor Championship. I don't know if Tony Khan has a weird fetish for Chris Jericho in championships or him getting TV time, but my God, bro, man, like it's not even about Mark Briscoe or none of that. The reason why I didn't want this to happen was simple. This just gives more of a reason for him to be on TV. That's simple as that. Because Chris Jericho, I love him. Like I said, I feel like I say this a million times. I feel like he's one of the most underrated superstars of all time. But man, recently Chris Jericho has just not been entertaining. It's just not has been hitting. It's been more of a annoying than good. And I know typically a heel is technically supposed to be annoying, but there's a difference between them being annoying in the sense of them doing heel work in terms of beating your favorites and them being annoying in the sense of get them off your TV. There's a huge difference. And this is more get off my TV annoyance. And we're doing this whole thing again. I will say this. This is better than the Hook stuff. I will say that. I will say this. This whole thing is better than the stuff he was doing with Hook. So I will give him credit. But overall, I'm just not prepared to see more Chris Jericho on my TV. But apparently that's what we're going to get since this decision they went with. Also, then Ishii comes out. I guess he's going to be the next challenger. I don't care. I feel like they faced like 5 times. Maybe I'm tripping, but I swear to God, it feels like Chris Jericho and Ishii fought like 8 times already. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm misplacing it. But I swear to God, these guys faced like 8 times. Now I understand wrestlers can face multiple times, but typically that works when you have a story that's interesting enough for them to face multiple times. This is not an interesting enough story for that to happen, but we'll see how this plays out. Now we end up getting Adam Cole. He was about to cut a promo, but then Undisputed Kingdom comes out. Roger Strong basically talks trash about MJF, talk about how bad of a person he is, etc. Then he ends up saying that the group was never made for MJF. They was made way before, which is technically true, but this is also a lie. We all know this group was made to destroy MJF. That is a lie. Now, yes, they was a group before back in WWE. We know that, but this group specifically was made for MJF. I don't know why they're trying to just lie, but sure. Then they talk about how MJF never visited Adam Cole, which I guess you could say because technically Adam Cole was injured while MJF before he betrayed him fully, but at the same time, why would he? But after he betrayed him, I don't see a reason why to visit him. So I guess, but then they basically end up saying that they want to finish the job together and they both want to go after MJF with Adam Cole. Adam Cole ends up calling out MJF, but of course MJF doesn't come out. He's back on the Titantron. He's getting massaged by a woman, and he basically ends up saying that whoever the first to get the 3 wins in a row between Roger Strong and Adam Cole gets him at Full Gear. So that's the deal. I will say this. If they're going to do this, fine, but have Roger Strong be the first one to get the 3 wins. Do not pull the trigger on this MJF Adam Cole feud. Do not do it yet. Wait till World's End. It's better for them to have their first match at the very spot where Adam Cole officially turned on him. Do it at World's End. Do not pull the trigger at Full Gear. I understand that's hard for Tony Khan because he loves to just pull the trigger, bust his load, and not give time to wait. Just can't help himself. Like, no. Give it time. Let it marinate, okay? Do not pull the trigger on this match. Give it time, okay? Have them fight at World's End. Have Roderick Strong and MJF fight at Full Gear. Have them go through the Undisputed Kingdom, and then he gets the Adam Cole. Do not pull the trigger on this match. Now, I understand why the dynamic is like this. I get it. Just because I understand it doesn't mean it's not stupid, because they are not trying at all to make this make sense. They are not. They're just going with it and just saying, forget what happened. Like, they are trying their best to just skim past a lot of things. I'm excited about the feud, not because it makes sense, but it's just because it's Adam Cole, MJF, but man, it is hard to really get invested in this feud. Also, they have to do a better job with Adam Cole. They need to do something with Adam Cole where he comes off better as a babyface, because for me personally, it's hard for me to look at Adam Cole as a babyface when I know what happened. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't just bypass the fact that the reason why we even having this feud is because of Adam Cole betraying MJF. Now you expect me to cheer Adam Cole? Like, that's just not how that works. Like they need to do something. They need to have Adam Cole get beat up by MJ. Something. They need something to give us sympathy, because no offense, Adam Cole has no sympathy. All he has is that leg injury. That's it. And even then, he's not really going in depth of the leg injury. Like, he could have used the leg injury as a way to be mad at MJF. He could have said something like, I helped, the reason I got injured was because I tried to help you. He could have done that, but no. Like, he just has no sympathy. All the sympathy is towards MJF, but MJF's the heel, so I guess we just play along. After this, we end up getting Buddy Matthews. He ends up calling out Adam Cole, which I understand why. It doesn't make sense why he's calling him out. I understand why, just to get him to the 3 matches. I understand, but it's still stupid. Like, you could have just had him just randomly face Buddy Matthews. You didn't need to have him call them out, because I highly doubt this is going to be a feud. And even if it's a feud, I mean, I guess, but unless they're doing the long-term plan of waiting until World's End, then sure. But even then, I was still questioning, why did this even happen? Now, next, we end up getting a segment with Mercedes, Camille, and Chris Statlander. I think Camille had a match with Queen Embanada or something like that. After the match, Chris Statlander comes out, and then Mercedes and Camille ends up jumping her. Okay. I will say this. segments like this need to be a lot shorter. And when I mean shorter, I mean they need to cut time from certain things. Like some things don't need to happen. Like for example, why did Camille fight Queen Empanada? I don't know why I'm calling her Empanada. That is not her name. But why did she have that match? Now, I didn't watch the match because I just didn't care because there was no reason to watch it. But you could have just cut that match and just had a promo with Mercedes and Camille for like 2 minutes. Didn't have Chris come out and have the same outcome. That's just me. Now, I will say this. I know Camille and Chris is going to have a match next week. And then I'm assuming that's going to eventually lead to Chris Statlander and Mercedes to have a match, which I'm okay with. I have a suggestion. How about this? Have this lead into Willow coming back into the title picture and dethroning Mercedes Moné. You can do a thing where Willow comes back in the aid of Chris Statlander. And I'm not saying they become best friends again, but you can have it to where Chris Statlander realizes her wrongs or whatever and helps Willow fight off Camille. That way Mercedes can't cheat, and then Willow be the one to dethrone Mercedes. That's just me. Now, I don't know how long they're going to have Mercedes hold these belts, but that would be my idea, but that's just a suggestion. Now we end up getting Kid Sapien. He was getting chased by Christian Cage, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was getting chased by Christian Cage. They're in the ring. Then Christian Cage was about to attack, but then Hook ends up coming out. He goes after Christian Cage because he realized Christian Cage is the one that attacked his father. But after that, he tried to attack, but then Kid Sapien ends up low blowing Hook, aligning himself with Christian Cage. Then that's the end of the segment there. Well, Christian Cage also ended up continuing to attack Hook and all that. Very interested in this. Not really interested in the Kid Sapien thing. I know they've been playing that story for months. I understand it's an angle they've been playing for months, but I really don't care. It's really the Hook and Christian Cage stuff because they do need to give Christian something because Christian is not going to be AEW champion for a while, if ever. So they need to give him some type of feud that way, from the whole John Moxley and all that. So Hook and Christian Cage, I like it. Sign me up. Now we end up getting the 6-man tag match. Daniel Garcia, Private Party versus the Elite. The babyface ends up winning. Private Party ended up picking up the pin, actually, after the match. Private Party gets on the microphone. Isaiah specifically ends up saying that they want a rematch and that he ends up making a deal. He ends up saying that, look, if they lose to the Young Bucks again, Private Party splits up. Now, his tag partner wasn't on board, and the Young Bucks agreed, and they're going to have the match next week. Okay. I am iffy on this because, for one, they made it next week and not full year, which very suspect. So the only thing I can think of is either this is going to end in disqualification or the Young Bucks are winning. Because why have this next week? Because if you was going to have Private Party win, just do it at full gear. But if you're going to have it next week, there's no way they're winning, in my opinion. So the only thing I can think of is that they're going to lose or it's going to be disqualification because there's no way Private Party is winning on Dynamite. I could be wrong. I hope to be proven wrong, but I guess, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I don't really think they should split up. Please do not do where they actually split up because maybe they could be single stars, but I just don't see it right now. I think they need to be a tag team for a bit more and then do it, but right now, no. But we'll see how this plays out. Now we end up getting, why am I saying now? This was in the same segment. After the match, Blackpool Combat Club, during the entire show, everyone in AEW locker room was waiting outside the arena to wait for them. They end up pulling up, but it was Marina Shafir. Why do I always call her Marina Shafir? Marina Shafir gets out of the car, and it's just her. And Claudio Pack ends up attacking Private Party, and then John Moxley ends up coming out, bringing out Chuck Taylor, and he's wearing all black. Then they end up bringing out a chair and basically ended up putting the chair inside of put his head inside the chair and stomp on it, injuring him, bringing up, I think he had a neck injury that cost him his wrestling career. So that type of story. So I think that's why they end up doing that angle. Orange Cassidy ends up running in, but he's already too late. So it looks like Orange Cassidy is going to be the next person in line to face John Moxley. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see that because Orange Cassidy has been needing something. He's been just floundering, doing nothing. He's been needing something, so I can't wait. Overall, this episode of Dynamite, it was mid, I'm going to be honest, but they did have a few highlights. They had a few highlights. I will give them credit. I give credit where credit is. They had a few moments. The ending was great in my opinion. I think the Kid Sapien, the hooks and Christian Cage stuff is good. Hangman, Adam Page, Jay White, I think that stuff good. They have hits. Then they also have misses. But overall, I think it was a mid episode, but they have some stuff here that is interesting that could really progress. But you guys let me know your opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.